All right, we got some spoilers on the way that came out last week that we kind of wanted to cover. That got some really cool things that going on. Hopefully you tuned into our 2 deck techs and our PQ run. But hey, if you have not, check it out. You can hit it up on the other part of the stream. We're gonna go through spoilers because there was a bunch of spoilers last week that we didn't get to cover in our Galactic Gazette. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of note that as an FYI, we know that they had a stream and we know they talked about rotation. We are not going to cover rotation tonight. It seems to be a hot button topic. I'm not going to do it. JJ and I are like, hey, why don't we get together and talk about some of these spoilers that are come out? Because I'm super excited for this new leader. Not as excited as I was for Thrawn, but I am still pretty excited about it. And I kind of wanted to go through these and not wait too long to go them. So, JJ, why don't you kick us off for our Galactic Gazette tonight and tell me about Captain Phasma. What does she do?
So Captain Phasma is the new leader that we saw. We knew that she was coming. I mean, they had the card sleeves already spoiled previously, but it's nice to see her come in. Excellent artwork. She comes in as a red and villainy aspect. Her tag is First Order and Trooper, and her ability reads action. If you have played a First Order unit this phase, deal 1 damage to a base. She deploys on 5 resources, and she is a 4 attack, 6 health. And her ability reads on attack. If you played another First Order card this phase, you may deal 1 damage to a unit, and if you do, deal 1 damage to a base, which is really strong, right? You have the potential to essentially do 2 damage to a base. Note, it doesn't have to be your enemy's base. You can do your own base for whatever reason. Maybe if you need to bring out one of those that walker that deploys on 15, pretty decent way to get you to that amount and then deploy that and have it ready automatically if you need to. This card would definitely get better and better as we get more First Order units, so that way you can build a very heavy First Order deck, and that way you can have full advantage of her ability. But yeah, definitely pretty decent for what we have. She definitely plays very, very aggressive. She's almost like a better Sabine as you're dealing damage to your opponent's base instead of your own base. So I think that she'll give Sabine a run for her money. But with the caveat that you're playing mainly First Order and not like other cards.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? Like, that's the big key is, like what she can do. And this kind of goes back to the Destiny thing. Like in Destiny, she basically had a power action where she could roll in 2 Stormtrooper dice, which they sucked, but like she became a 4 dice character. And if you had Mega Blaster Troopers, it was even better because they rolled in a whole bunch of dice, and so like you could just have all these trooper dice out, and it was kind of like, oh, trooper wall, so like that's obviously what they're going for a little bit with this. I agree with you. Like the card playability is better than Sabine, but I think it's going to hit less than Sabine. And I think we did get some really cool First Order spoilers, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how many First Order cards there are. But I do know there's a Kylo's Die Silencer, right? Like Kylo is also that. I don't know. So I hope they give us some really cool interactive cards that work with Kylo as well, right? That aren't just like the villain piece of it, where you can like, because it doesn't Kylo. Is it the shields Kylo gives, or does he give +2 to something? I can't.
I believe it's +2. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like this. I like her a lot. She also has 1 more health than Sabine. By the way, yes. She does come out 1 resource later, but she does have 1 more health. Do you think we're going to see? Okay, do you think we're going to see her baton or her blaster?
I think we're going to see her baton for sure. I think that's a very iconic weapon for her. So I think that's definitely something that we're going to do it. I'm hoping that it has like a combination of like the electrostaff guard, like where your opponents like do 1 less damage, and then she could do 1 more damage if it's her who's using it. I think that would be a really cool like weapon for her, right? Having the best of both offense and defense.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that would be a really cool thing. I think in Destiny we had her blaster. I don't remember if we had a baton. Maybe we um but we definitely had a blaster, and that was like the best thing ever. So I hope we get a baton as well. Let's move on. To combi caveat with her, we get a special forces TIE fighter, which okay, so like I know we're excited to play her, but like I just keep seeing yellow or red pelp like fodder every time we talk about these cards. Because now we have the special forces tie, which is a first order tie. It's a 2 cost, 2/3. When played, and if an opponent controls more space units than you, ready the unit. And it's a 2 cost. So it's just like this mini TIE fighter that's like, yeah, it's an SF. It can't shoot out its butt, but it sure as heck can shoot you if you got more space units.
Yeah, if you could find a way to to bring this out as a smuggle, I think this would be extremely good, right? Because this is not a card that you want to play off right off the bat, right? Typically, if you're, especially with the new cards that are coming out that are able to play more token units in space and stuff like that, that's when you want to deploy that card. You could hold it in your hand and do it that way. It definitely benefits that way to like kind of like take out other space units out there. This would be really really good, especially against the lurking TIE Phantom right off the bat, because you could deploy it, take out the lurking TIE Phantom, and still live on 1 health. So it's definitely going to be something that's going to be a staple for a lot of red decks for space.
Yeah, and it's a 2 cost. This is like a 2. This is great in Kylo too, by the way.
Yeah,
Like this is just amazing in Kylo.
yeah.
All right, tell us about General Hux, JJ. I know you're excited about him.
I'm surprised they didn't give him a subtext of General Hugs. So he's a 2 cost red ability aspect coming in with 1 attack and 4 health. He is a first order official, and it reads each other first order unit, friendly first order unit gains raid 1 in action. You can exhaust that card. If you played a first order card this phase, draw a card. So definitely a great buff. Definitely will have a lot of help with the Emperor's Royal Guards, just protecting him. Definitely a unit that you want to sentinel or have sentinels around, just so you can constantly have that buff there and draw more cards from your deck into your hand and play them out there. I am interested to see if they're going to have a really good Sentinel first order unit, just so you could take advantage of it. For instance, Kylo Ren's, or actually Snoke's bodyguards, those red bodyguards, like those are the versions of the Royal Guards. It'll be great to see those come into the game.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. This reminds me of Admiral Mahdi, right? Like, is that who, like he does like dies and readies something. This just like gives everybody raid 1. I don't know. And I don't even care. Perilous position him, whatever. The next card is a first order TIE fighter, so not a special forces. This is a 1-drop 2/1 that while you control a token unit, this unit gains raid 1. So it's a 3/1 for 1 if you control a token unit. So, let me play this with Poggle. It's now a 3/1. I don't know. I like it. I think this is really good. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that First Order does get a way to get their own token units without having to go out of faction identity. Like just having a special forces tie token out there, it'll be great to go along with it, just for theme.
Well, or think about it this way: what if we got like a ship that gave every TIE fighter the first order tag, right? Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, give me a capital ship that does that, like a cheap capital ship that has no attack power but has high health and can do that. Thank you, I'll take that.
Yeah.
All right. We also this week got a Captain Phasma unit. What is this unit, JJ?
So Captain Phasma coming in as a green aspect card this time, coming at 5 costs, and she is a 5 attack, 6 health with first order and trooper. and reads when played and on attack, you may give another first order unit +2/+2 for this phase. Absolutely great, right? Because you can, if the unit that you have played survives and you're able to attack with Phasma, you're now doing a +4/+4 for that particular unit. Will be really, really great if you can also have that unit be like an overwhelm unit, because you can just wreck a base really, really good with it. It's definitely going to see a lot of play, I think, for first order decks. I guess they are hinting very heavily that you should run Phasma with green. So, but yeah, it's definitely going to be really strong, I think.
She's nuts.
Yeah.
This unit is nuts, right? Like this is like the Poe Wrecker style like villain card that we need for that. Like just like, oh my gosh, like you can ECL her in, right? And you get the when played and on attack. You could give another first shooter unit +2/+2. So you could essentially give another first order unit like +4/+4. Like,
Yeah.
holy balls. That's just like, oh my God. I think,
mean,
like, how is this not like even a rare?
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, if you have a good Sentinel unit out too on the board, I mean, you just play her and boom, you just gave your Sentinel +2/+2. Like that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, blue decks will not care because blue decks could just fell the dragon that. But outside of that, like I'm telling you, like, I don't know, like this card feels like a legendary without it being a legendary.
Yeah.
So next up is Moff Gideon, and I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm even more excited than Phasma for Moff Gideon, and it's because I'm telling you, it's not because of the character or that, it's because of the fact that we have Moff Gideon. He's got a dark saber, and we now have a Moff Gideon unit to play with Gideon's light cruiser, right?
Yes.
Gideon's light cruiser works with this Moff Gideon, and I have a Moff Gideon deck I've messed around with, and oh man, just be like, he now can activate that. He can just now join the ranks of the Gideon team. But essentially he is a 4-cost yellow villain. Of course, it's yellow, right? And when he comes in, he's a 5/4. He's an Imperial officer. When this unit deals combat damage to an opponent's base, each unit that opponent controls this phase costs 1 more. So every unit they play now costs 1 more. So now you have to you just have to kill him. Now I will say he does die, I think, pretty easily, right? You could probably kill him pretty easily, but
Yeah.
at the same token, he's just super, super, super good. I don't know. I think he's really good. Like I'm already excited to be able to play him with like Darksaber now just becomes a must to play in that deck as theme, right? Like, so let me have a Gideon deck with this and theme. And like, I love denying resource costs to people. Like, this is kind of like, this will mess with Han, right? Like, this is just going to mess with Han right here.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is such a great deck or card to have in that kind of deck there. Even if you're paying the aspect penalty on there, I mean, he's going to be really good to have, right? Because it helps delay your opponent. Especially if you're able to get this out and swing early into your opponent's base. I mean, you can absolutely wreck somebody's turn 5 and mess up how they can deploy units out there. Who do you think this probably goes well with, like in different aspects for villainy? Who do you think is probably the best character?
Well, it's probably not. To like right now, I think this boosts. I think Bosk Yellow becomes a little bit more potent. I also think that this is a great CAD card. It doesn't have the ambush, but it has that negative play effect, and CAD can now like be very more picky about it. And because CAD is already, yellow, you don't have to play it in just the red version. You can play this in the green version. So off the top, like I would like to say Thrawn, because that would be really good, but I don't. Thrawn's not good right now. Like Thrawn's not like the best guy in the game. So, like, I really think it benefits a boss yellow, and it's going to benefit it's going to benefit Cad. Like Cad's a great winner for this card.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little sad that Moff Gideon leader can't affect this Moff Gideon ground unit because he's a 4 cost, and but still, I think I agree with you. Like that's a really great addition for that leader. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, tell me what's the next card we get.
So the next one here we got is Fight Fire with Fire. It's a 1-cost red Gambit card, and it says choose one friendly unit and an enemy unit in the same area. If you do, deal 3 damage to each of them. Really great to use with shielded characters, right? Because you don't care about taking 3 damage if you got a shield, and you can pretty much hopefully eliminate your target with this particular card. I think it'll probably have a couple of uses in a few decks. I could definitely see this in like a Garth Saxon deck. That could be really fun to use with. I could definitely also see this in a Ray Red deck. She is able to, buff units pretty reliably. Heck, even I could see this in like a oh my god, what's her name? Iden deck with the red. That would be pretty fun too.
Yeah, I think it's okay. You're right. It's the shielded piece that like makes it worth it. Or Pelp, right? Who doesn't care if he kills his own unit anyway? So I don't know. This is like a 3 cost or 1 cost. Like I don't. It's pretty. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
The next one is BB8. He's happy beeping. He has a 1 cost hero red. He's a 1/4 just out of the box. He's also a pilot for the same cost. When played as an upgrade, you may pay 2. If you do, you can ready a resistance, and he is a 1/2. So you could put him on black 1 and ready black 1. Seems pretty good. You could put him on this tactical heavy bomber, and that seems pretty good too, because now it's a 4/7 that deals indirect damage. So I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, for essentially, you can do this on turn 2, especially if you have a very cheap resistance vehicle, or even just like a cheap resistance trooper unit. Just put this guy on a ship and just immediately swing in with that trooper unit in there. It's going to be really really nice. Definitely for nice for aggressive aggro decks that can have that, and you can easily fit this in a Sabine deck too if you replace some of your rebel units with the resistance. Just being able to swing in with a unit by paying essentially 3 is pretty strong. You can put BB-8 on an A-wing, which would be great to see. And yeah,
I like it. I think it's pretty good. It is an uncommon, so it will be. I think this will be really good in draft.
Yeah,
or seal. All right, tell me who's making the weird face.
Oh my god, why did they do Snap Wexley like this? Why? So he deserves so much better, especially with Mr. Bones, man. Like, I know.
Look at this though. He's like, oh, this is like a Comedy Central, like somebody like the Quackers or some crazy weird show like made this art. I'm sorry, like we don't have to like all the art, and it's fine. Like I do not want to dog like the person that drew this. Like I try really hard to be nice, but man, I'm telling you, like this card, like how hard it's gonna be to play this card and not just like say, oh yeah, or something dumb with this every time.
It's the resistance, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, so he Snap Wexley comes in at a 3 cost with the green and hero aspects. He as a ground unit, he's a 2/5, and it reads when played as a unit on attack, the next resistance card you play this phase costs 1 less. As a pilot, he is a 2 cost. And it reads, when played as an upgrade, search the top 5 decks of your deck for a resistance card, reveal it, and draw it. So he's good either way. I mean, either putting him as a pilot or putting him as a unit on the board. I mean, that's really good to have as a resistance unit on there. I think I actually prefer the ground unit better, mainly because you can, if you're able to ECL them, you're paying two less for a resistance unit coming in that turn, right? So that's really handy. You can easily probably pop in BB-8 if you got one additional card, and ready him and attack him again and pay one less. I mean, that's a nice little combo there. So he's definitely going to see some play for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to see that we get some of these pilots with like ground unit text, because this card just becomes insanely useful because you can play it in any spot, right? Like this card is good in either arena. So,
Yeah.
all right, the next one is the tactical heavy bomber. I hope we get some cool pilots from X-Wing that go with this. Super excited if we do get some cool pilots. JJ, what is your favorite but resistance bomber pilot that we could get?
It's got to be Venny. Venny from X-Wing.
Yeah,
He's such a great pilot. Yeah.
I would be very excited if we got him. But this is a 5-cost hero red 3/5 resistance vehicle. On attack, deal indirect damage equal to this unit's power to the defending player. If a base is damaged this way, draw a card. That player may assign that much unpreventable damage among their base and units. Okay, so it's just telling you what indirect damage is. I think this is very good. Especially if you get a couple of these out. Again, this is now giving Hero a little bit of that taste we had with Boba with indirect damage. I would not be surprised if we get a card that allows you to reassign indirect damage on the hero side to whatever you want, kind of like we have in Villain with Boba. So I really hope we get something like that in Hero. And like I would like to have 3 bombers on the table at one time.
Yeah.
It would
Honestly,
be like X-Wing again.
if you put this on ECL, right, you can ECL this. It goes into attack mode immediately. You can deal 5 damage right off the bat with that, and then deal its attack to whichever character you want. So it can do quite a lot of damage as soon as you come in there. And if your opponent still can't deal with this unit afterwards, heck, putting a bunch of I would even entrench this to make it a 6/8, and then just attack like a defending unit, and you're still dealing 8 indirect damage to your opponent from that. I mean, that it's just really nice. There's a lot of utility for this particular unit.
All right, what's the next one, JJ?
Next one we got here is the Desperate Commandos. This is the 2-cost blue aspect 2/2 resistance trooper, and it reads, when defeated, you may give a unit -1/-1 for this phase. This is definitely one if you're doing a red-blue deck, probably something you would consider doing with BB-8, as you can play this unit there. It is a resistance unit, and you can ready it with BB-8 once it's played there. Pretty standard trooper type card for the resistance. It's nice for them to get a little more units on there. Also eligible for Thrawn, because it's just a blue card put into Thrawn, and all of a sudden Thrawn is doing a -2/-2 to somebody, and probably could take out that unit. So yeah,
it's a really good up value in trade. And I think you're right. I think this sees play. I definitely think this sees play in Thrawn.
Yeah, or heck, even Palp if you're doing a Palp blue.
Yep. Yep. And Palp Blue's kind of like, I think Palp Red is going to be good, and I'm going to try to build Palp Red, but Palp Blue this next set so far feels the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my head is going. Again, we'll see what pilots we get, but I don't know. It seems pretty good. The next one is a Black Squadron Scout Wing, 5-cost hero yellow. It is a resistance vehicle fighter. This is, what is this, the T-75 or the T-85? Is that what this is?
That's a T-75 for sure. Yeah.
Okay. This is a 4/6. When you play an upgrade on this unit, you may attack with this unit. It gets +1 for this attack. So this is so I don't know, we can scroll back up. What's BB-8 gives you +1. So this can attack for 6. When you play BB-8 on it, and anybody else just makes it more. You can put Anakin on this. Yeah, Anakin's yellow. And then you could basically recycle Anakin to your hand.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so good. Oh, Anakin.
Yeah, I know. Anakin's going to be the card that you want to collect. I don't hate this card. I think this card has a very wide butt as a 4/6. It essentially, if you're going to play an upgrade deck in Hero, this card becomes like mandatory. And I think, like we talk a little bit about Quinlan, right? And how Quinlan works. We'll have to look and see if when you attach a pilot, it's a right. So it's not it is a unit. So I don't know. We'll have to talk about how it'll work when this unit gets attached with Quinlan. Because like if you think about it, if Quinlan can attach a unit and ping a damage and then swing with this, like that means this thing can swing for 6 or it swings for 5 plus whatever upgrades on it plus the one from Quinlan. This thing could just take out something pretty
Capital
big.
Easy. Yep.
Yeah, so I will hesitate and say we need to get a Quinlan clarification from FFG officially. Maybe I'll ask them or somebody in the chat can ask, but I think we need to get that clarification. But I want to know going forward how that would work. Because I don't think anybody's asked that, and like Quinlan just becomes better. And I guess at that point, I just need to eat the bullet and buy a Quinlan showcase now.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, I actually like this card a lot. I think this card is really good for mid range. This is something I could see in a wedge deck too. I'm actually already working around building a wedge deck. Like wedge is kind of my new Quinlan. I think that's kind of who I want to play. I think if I'm going to play hero is wedge. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, tell me what the next one is. Whose ship is this, JJ?
Oh, I told you we were going to get this ship, man. I told you. So we're going to get the 7-cost Radis. I love it. This is the big capital ship that we saw in episode 8 when the rebels were fleeing the car. This comes with the green and hero aspect on cost on there with an 8 attack and 6 health, and it reads resistance, vehicle, and capital ship. Just a side note, I thought this would have way more health, mainly because this thing withstood the attack of several Star Destroyers for a long time, but whatever. So this reads, while you control another resistance card, this unit gains Sentinel, and it reads, when defeated, deal damage equal to this unit's power to an enemy unit. Kind of on the fence on this one because I wish you could spread out the damage if you wanted to. But if you're dealing 8 damage to a unit, I mean, you could take out a Vader, you could take out a Maul, you could severely cripple a Crate Dragon. You could potentially take out a Devastator. I'm trying to think what the health is on that.
10.
Oh yeah, it's 10. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can do some pretty good damage with this to an enemy unit on there. Just wish it could do a little bit more. Just the condition of having another resistance lead card on the board to make it have Sentinel is kind of meh. Could see some play, but honestly, I think they're better capital ships out right now for what's available for green.
All right, so I'm going to counter you a little bit. I actually think this ship is amazing. I think it's amazing, because it's a Sentinel, so it stops them from going to
Sentinel.
base. Yes.
Additional, yeah.
So yes, you have to control another resistance card. So if you play this with the resistance leader, it works. So in a hold old deck, this is an amazing card. Just
that's true.
Off the bat. So you're right, it is a little bit conditional, but with the fact that you have this, it becomes Sentinel. It does the 8 damage. It's like a Devastator. Devastator's the same way. When you play it, it does only 10 damage to one unit, not anything else. This is just a when defeated. Now, if there becomes, I don't know, this is a 9 cost in Thrawn, right? If you play Thrawn Green, this is a 9 cost card that you can do double damage with.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
So you can kill 2 units. You don't care about the You don't care about the Sentinel piece. You can swing the base. If they don't kill this thing, whatever. This has the less health than a Avenger, but this could just like swing the game. This is in my Thrawn deck, just so you know. Like, I already have this in my Thrawn deck. I have a green Thrawn I'm building. This is in my Thrawn deck. So, I don't know. I think it's really good. I think you're undervaluing it. I think this card's amazing. Personally. All right, on to the next one. We have Profundity.
The Profundity. Yeah.
Is this Akbar's ship? Is that what this is?
No, this is Admiral Radis' ship in Rogue One.
Okay.
Yeah, that assaults the base. Yeah.
So this is a hero, red hero, 9 cost, 8/9 capital rebel. It's rebel, by the way. Ship. This has Overwhelm, and it has a when played, when defeated text on it. So when played or when defeated, choose a player. That player, or they discard a card from their hand. Then, if they have more cards in their hand than you, they discard a card from their hand. So Help does not ever want to see this stupid ass shit. Ever. Do not play this against Pelp, please. I do not want to see this ship. For a legendary, it feels a little bit weakish. But at the same token, I do think that there's some niche value to this. I think this goes really good in Anakin Blue. Like, I think this is great in Anakin Blue because this gives you a way to have kind of a crate dragon slash that can do a lot of damage slash something that gets overwhelmed slash something that makes you discard cards. And I think this is going to be pretty good.
I agree.
Again, this is something Pelp does not want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly see this on a Han deck, on a yellow Han deck. You're able to put in, you're able to get 9 resources pretty easily with Han, and if you're pretty aggressive about putting cards in, you can pretty much destroy your opponent's late game presence with whatever cards they have in their hand. Having that overwhelm on top of that for this is really good. And just being able to just punch through and dealing damage to your opponent's base, it's really good. Side note, don't really agree with the thematic of this particular card, mainly because, and I blame Star Wars Armada for this, because in that particular game, Profundity is able to deploy another ship, like a small base ship, to go over there. And I think this should have came with like a token capital ship like that, that you could deploy only if you played the Profundity, just so you could do like a 2-for-1 type of deal for that. That would have been a nice little mechanic for it, but it's still great to see the Profundity come in. It's the first capital ship of this particular type that we've seen in the game so far, and I hope that we see more versions of this particular ship, specifically because later on we're going to see a particular character from a video game, Star Wars Squadrons, and they do have this particular ship as capital ships for that particular game. So it'll be nice to see more ships like this.
Fair enough. All right, tell us about the next cargo frigate.
Yeah, so we got the 5 cost, the cargo frigate. It's a blue aspect and hero aspect. Coming in at 6 attack and 7 health, and it reads resistance, vehicle, and capital ship. And it reads, this unit gets a -1, -0 for each damage on it. So it gets worse as you start damaging this particular card on it. I think there are better things you could do with 5 costs in your deck for this. I mean, shoot, half of the resistance fighters that we're seeing coming out now feel a lot better than this particular card. I mean, yeah, 6/7 is definitely a nice stat, but if your opponent starts dealing damage with it, then the value of this card comes down really fast. So yeah, it's something.
It's okay. How about that?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's an okay card. I think like it could make your, like, you could have kind of a blue aggro-ish deck with something like this. I don't know. You don't want to assign indirect damage to it,
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. It's okay. It is very powerful as a 5 cost 6/7 though. Like that is
Yeah.
a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
I also, just so you know, I also actually think this goes really well with Obi-Wan, because it's natively blue and Obi can heal damage from it, and then it gets its power back. So you can deal like 1 or 2 indirect damage to it and then get its power back. And I think this will have a little bit of more niche like tidings. But I think this goes in an Obi deck. Pretty much this should just become an Obi deck staple. Like that's where this belongs.
Yeah.
All right, the next one, I'm excited. I love Ahsoka though. She's one of my favorite characters of all times. Her subtext is chasing whispers because you know who she's looking for. She is
Uh-huh.
a 4-cost yellow hero. She's a 3/5 fringe force, which I don't think they've done anything with fringe, but she's a force unit. She can also, by the way, take Ahsoka's lightsaber,
Oh
and you
yeah.
can use it on her. When you play her, an opponent discards a card from their hand. If it's a unit, you get to exhaust the unit. This is great for 4 costs. Love it. This is more anti-hand destruction. Quinlan's gonna love this card. You know, Quinlan Tarkentown's just like this card becomes a must, and you can now you have a reason to run the stupid lightsaber as well. I love this card. I think this is a card I will collect hyperfoils of this card. I will definitely be playing this. She is one of my favorite characters. So
Yeah, definitely. I gotta say though, I've never seen her as a fringe character. I've always seen her as at least this version as Ahsoka, as a rebel character, because she's known as you know, like a rebel agent. I
okay,
can't
what's her
remember
name?
What's her name?
Do it. Say what's her name? Come on.
I know. It's my goodness. Oh, it's gonna kill me. It's gonna come to me like 5 minutes later randomly. I'm gonna blurt it out. Um, Yeah, I can't remember it. But anyway, I guess they didn't want her to get too much buff from having like rebel benefits, and I can see why. But it's the artwork is just fantastic for Ahsoka. Like it's great.
It's Fulcrum. It's fucking
Thank
Fulcrum.
you, Fulcrum.
Yeah.
Yes, and that should have been her subtext.
Yes, it should have. Yes, I agree. Unless we get a third Ahsoka unit, and this is Yellow Hero, by the way. So my other Ahsoka unit, that's a 3 cost. I can play both of them now. I can have 2 Ahsokas on the table. Yeah. And then I have even more reason to play Ahsoka's Padawan lightsaber.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So the next one we got here is the 3 cost of Miss Hunter with the yellow and villainy aspect. It is a 3 attack and 4 cost with Underworld's vehicle and transport on this. And it reads, on attack, if you played a bounty hunter or pilot card this phase, you may draw a card. Absolutely love this, especially with having Zuckuss available in Forlom to pilots for this particular vehicle. I think it goes great with them. You're able to ambush them out and then play while you have the Mist Hunter out and then drawing a card afterwards. Just great synergy there. I'm hoping to see either one of them as pilots available to deploy into the Mist Hunter just for theme. It'll be great to see them on there. And yeah, it's pretty decent for what it does. 3 cost, 3/4. It's pretty strong.
Yeah, we have a boss pilot yet so far. We do not have Forlom or Zuckuss, but I don't see why they wouldn't give us a Forlom or Zuckuss pilot. Maybe they don't, but that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna run a bounty hunter deck, I think this is great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this will go great in Cad Bane decks, honestly. Like, this will be great.
All right, the next one is actually almost my favorite card of the night. This is a 7 cost green only turbo laser salvo. It's a tactic card, by the way. Choose an arena. A friendly space unit deals damage equal to its power to every unit in the arena. Like, all right. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Like, this goes in my Thrawn deck. I could play my capital ship, and this goes in my Piat deck. I could play capital ship. This is crazy, right?
You wipe the board.
This is crazy.
You wipe the board on this. Easy.
Like, oh my gosh. And you can put it in either hero or villain. I don't know what they were thinking with this card, other than I guess it's conditional because you have to have a unit out there.
Yeah.
So like they're trying to force people. So what's going to happen? This was going to happen at the beginning of the meta for this set. People are going to be going to base, and then I'm just going to be playing this card and wiping the board on 7 resources because you didn't kill my capital ship, and you have to kill it. And then people later on in the meta are going to have to like trade units. And I am assuming that's probably why this card exists, is to force people to trade units versus going straight to base for everything. I don't know. I love this card. I think this card is great.
Yeah.
But I'm a control player, so what do you expect?
Yeah, and I love that it's the scene from the Ahsoka series with the Chimera bombarding the base where the Night Sisters were. Like, I think that's really cool. I love that little piece.
Yeah. You know, this goes well in Pelp. So just I'm gonna throw that out there. Lob.
All right, so the next one here is Frisk. I love it. This is a Star Wars Squadron pilot that we've seen that's coming into the game. I'm really excited to see more pilots like Keo and stuff come out. So he is a 2-cost red and hero aspect, coming in at 3/2 as a ground unit. As a pilot unit, he deploys on 2 as well. And he is a 2/2, and when played as an upgrade, you may defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less, which is great because you just automatically delete another pilot if you want to. Just a really solid like pilot to add on there, really cheap 2 cost. It's definitely going to see some play in a lot of aggro decks that want to take out like shields from units and stuff, and or even upgrades. Upgraded units like experience tokens and stuff. Just a really great way to play it and take out somebody's upgrade. Definitely going to see some play for sure.
Yeah, like, oh, you played a BB-8 unit. Bye bye. Oh, you played an Anakin Skywalker unit. Bye bye.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So, all right. Well, that is all we have for our spoilers and news section. Next week.